Third one of today, number 101 in the book. It's Long Crag, which is at Thrunton Woods, where you can come at it from a couple of angles, but I've chose to come at it from Thrunton Woods. I've done it before from a slightly different starting point, and some of the woods are still closed by the looks of it. I've driven down the road that's alongside it, so if you're coming in from the sort of A1 side of it, there's a telecoms mast as you enter, and it's probably, I've parked up about 250 yards past there, and I'm going to take the forestry track off just through there in the distance, well, just across the other side of the road. So fingers crossed when I get in there it's not still shut. It looks like they've done a fair bit of logging, so I'm hoping that the tracks are going to be fairly clear, and once you get up onto the top and you're on the ridge, I've done that before, and it's pretty flat once you're up there. So I should be taking my sticks on this one. I'm expecting it to be a bit slippy and a bit boggy on the way up there, and then hopefully once I'm on the top it'll be okay. I've made my way along this forest track. Quite an easy walk so far. I've seen a couple of deer. Got a bit of video on my phone. If it's clear enough, I'll put it in. And I don't know whether this has been felled as part of the normal felling process, or whether it's just been tidied up after Storm Arwen. Looking across the valley, it's been skittled quite a lot, and I'm just hoping that the track I need to take off to my right shortly isn't just blocked completely, because there's hundreds of trees down on the far side of the valley at the moment. If you are walking up this way, there's a row of or 8 what you call electricity pylons running straight through, so it does give you quite a good reference point for map reading. So I think I've got to loop round kind of under the pylons, and then I'm going to make a right hand turn in a bit to get over towards the crag itself. So it should pick us up at Crags, where I've been before. I made a video a few years back doing a little bushcraft cook up there. Quite a popular spot for wild camping, just on the crags. So far so good. Seen a couple of deer 50 yards from the car, was pleasant. Seen a little robin, and I can hear birds in the trees and the like. Fingers crossed I see a bit more stuff. And I think the other good thing about the fact that we've had Storm Arwen, a lot of the forestry tracks are signposted as being closed. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say this was being reckless walking down a closed track. I'm not encouraging it, but it's not stopping us. Just come across this, which is moderately interesting. Stand back a little bit. It's what appears to be like a little target thing, and then when I've looked around the back of it, there's these little metallic fragments that are what look to be bullets that have impacted. And then back down the other end here is a kind of I thought it was a picnic bench to start with, but I think it's where you sit with your rifles, and I'm guessing they either use it for target practice or for just zeroing their sights before they go off hunting in the woods. This is a quirky little benchy thing, which I'm guessing you would just park your backside down here, rest your rifle or your elbow, and have a shot up the range. Quite random that, I've never seen one of them before. We're just getting up to the far end now of the forest trail, kind of bears round to the right, and fingers crossed I can now pick up a footpath through the woods. But 10 yards in I can see there's one tree down. I'm just hoping it's not no, it looks doable. It looks like there's another tree down slightly further up, but it also looks like they've been in with chainsaws clearing it, so happy day. Happy days. Can you get that in the background? And there's a few fresh footprints on the floor. I've just bobbed up out of the woods now. When you get to the top, there's a V in the path, a fork, and I probably should consult the map, but I'm just going to take the right fork. I'm fairly confident. The sun's behind us, so I'm fairly confident I'm heading north, which will bring us out on the top of the valley looking over Crags. Ooh. Very S or I've seen one of them before up Simonside Crags. Was it? But I can't remember what the letter was now. I think it was a D. I'm gonna have to look back through my videos now. Probably a boundary marker for an ancient landowner, like Simonside Estates or something, maybe, I don't know. So I can see the Simonside ridge in the background over there. It looks like where I've come out, I've actually bypassed Crags, which is a shame because it's. I might go past it on the way back. I'll see how I'm doing for time. So from here, it was just a case of following this path along. It's reasonable underfoot. It's a bit muddy, a bit slippy, but the weather has distinctly changed its tune. There's a fair bit of blue sky coming out now, and we're getting well enough above the tree line to get some nice views. Well, thanks for joining us, folks. Here's another one in the bag. Long Crag on what's turned out to be a glorious day. They've got the forecast wrong. It was supposed to be 30-mile-an-hour winds and quite a lot of rain. Earlier today we've had a little bit of a drizzle and it's a bit of a breeze, but certainly not enough to stop you getting out and about. I think the thing is just pack the right clothes and get yourselves out there. If you get wet, you get wet. But another stunning afternoon in Northumberland. I've pushed on further along Crag. So the Trig's just behind me in the distance behind. And the views up here today are just fantastic. Wind's picked up. Must be some sort of game of Flintstone Scrabble, this, because here's another one of these posts. It's got an A on that side. Oh, and an S on that side. Let's do a countdown. Followed Long Crag along now back towards the road that runs through Thrunton Woods, and I've picked up another cairn on a high spot. What an absolute joy of a view it is from here as well. It's similar, slightly different angle. Again, the sun's well out now. Nice blue skies. Can't see the cairn, can you? Let's come over this way. There we've got the cairn behind us. So this time I've gone back via going back via Crags. It's a little bit of a gamble because I'm not so sure the paths are open, but it's one of them. I can see the road from here. I know where I'm going. I'll just, fingers crossed, I can get through all the paths, and then I'll have a little walk up the road back to my car. How's about this for a view? Another nice little spot here. I don't think you could quite bivvy. It's not particularly flat, and if you rolled over in the night, you'd be about 3 miles away down in the valley. Tucked out the wind though. Taking a bit of a wrong turn. I've dropped down off the path along the tops because I wanted to see this crag, and I thought there was a path that kind of ran parallel but at a slightly lower level. So I followed that down, however it doesn't. It zigzags around and goes right down into the valley bottom. And it looks like some balmy buggers have been down here on mountain bikes as well. And it's a proper sketchy path with some slippery big steps. But anyway, I'm going back up the top and go along a bit further. So this is the path coming back down off the tops through back into the forest. And although it's a bit muddy or wet, it isn't. It's kind of sandy and rocky and it's fairly firm underfoot. I think I did drop a clanger on that lower path because I've somehow managed to kind of miss what I would class as crags. If you go back through my back catalogue, I did one where I cooked up a pheasant, had a little bit of a bushcrafty walkout years ago now, and there's a good little craggy overhang that makes a good little spot for wild camping or just stopping off on your walk. But I need 2 hands on my poles now, it's getting a bit sketchy. Never mind walking boots. You need a hard hat for this section. This is obviously where they haven't cleared up after storm Arwen. But thankfully you can get through the path. Oh, he says. Oh dear God. That isn't what I wanted. Oh my God, what do I do here? I'm gonna have to go for it. I'm now sick as a parrot. I've scrambled under them flipping logs, which are like too small for me to be getting under. Got through them because it looks like plenty of other people have. And you get to this, and there's like, I thought you could get up through there, but you can't. So I'm proper pig sick now. I've got to get back under here and retrace my steps for probably a good half an hour. So yeah, maybe I should have read the signs. So morale's not as high. I'm back at the second cairn that I was at probably, I don't know, 3/4 of an hour ago, and disappeared off down that way only to come all the way back on myself. So the sun's starting to set. I think I should be all right for time, but you know when you go for one of them leisurely walks and then it doesn't turn out leisurely, that's what this is. So I'll bring you back once I get back on that forest track. To be fair, even if it does go dark, it doesn't really make any difference. You know when things go from bad to worse? I've just gone shin deep in a bog. Right, now I've got to find that part. I don't think it was that one. I think it was further on and off to the left. That's twice now, up to my shin in a bog. But thankfully I've picked up a path that's, it's boggy, it's muddy, it's slippy, but it's well trodden. So I don't think it's the path, well I'm fairly sure it's not the path I came up before, but it's heading in the right direction, so I'm thinking it's going to bring me back out on the main forest track. And I think I've still got plenty of daylight to play with, but what a frustration going all of that way, especially when it was downhill. I thought I'm making good progress here, and then wallop trees. So I think the message is skirt round the outside of the woods if you're coming this way to the, I think it's the south, and the Rothbury side of things, and you'll be all right. But it looks like there's still sections. I've just bumped into 4 lads, and I give them the heads up not to make the same mistake I did. They wanted to go and have a look at the crags, and they've come through the bottom of Thrunton Woods up onto the tops, back along the crag to where I was. I said, well, which way are you going to go back? And so I think they're going to sort of follow me once they've had a look at the crags. But I mean, they weren't kitted out for it really, just trainers on and that. And yeah, we've probably got an hour's worth of daylight left, so they need to be getting a wriggle on. That hasn't actually worked out too bad. So I picked a path through the woods, which has brought me back out on the forest track that I started on, but it's cut the corner off. So yeah, happy days. I'm well back on track now. I can start to relax again. Hope them lads pick up the same path, because yeah. So if you are coming this way, there is a gateway, and the path I've just taken is a way off up through the woods over yonder. Nearly back. It's just 4 o'clock now, so the sun is well starting to set. I don't know whether them lads are following or not, but I just hope they don't come unstuck in the spooky forest of doom when the sun really does go down. But it's been a good one, other than my little detour and falling in 2 bogs. So again, if you wouldn't mind giving us a thumbs up and like and a subscribe and whatever else you might be able to do, it would be appreciated. I think there's maybe, by the time I've done 3 of these trigs today, so that's going to extend the series to maybe about 12 now, something like that. I think I've got a couple more to do, and I've got a couple to revisit, where there was one over near Reedsdale that I tried doing just before Christmas. The Trig's in a woodland area, and I just couldn't get into it, and I ran out of time, so I've got to go back and do that one. But there's still plenty to go at, 150 or something in the book, and I think I've maybe done somewhere in the region of 16 or 17, I think, something like that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Just to detail out what the route actually was, this is the road that comes into Thrunton Woods, so the main parking area is higher up, but just after you come in, there's the telecommunication mast just on your right hand side, and then I parked about here. The forestry track takes you off through the forest. This is the row of pylons, so you walk under the pylons, and then you could take the path I came back on. There's a gateway, and then you could turn off to the right, follow that through, and that'll bring you out on Crags. But on the way there, I actually followed the track all the way to the end of the track, and then there isn't a path that's marked on here, but it kind of twists and turns and gets you through somewhere probably here, and then you can pick up this very fine line on the map, but it is a footpath along the ridge of the crags until you get to the Trig point. I then carried on further along the Trig point, or past the Trig point, to the next cairn, which is about here, and then all the way back again. And then on the way back, I just carried on hugging the side of the ridge and followed this path, carried on following it and following it. So there's another cairn just about there, and then started dropping down into the woods. And it was probably somewhere around about here where the trees were down. And then I had to backtrack all the way back up here, down here, and then back down this way and back to the car. So I hope that's useful. There clearly is still a lot of paths that are down, but you can still enjoy yourself as long as you don't go down a dead end. Hope you enjoy it. Bye.